Some of you watching this video right now 100% think that Austin Reaves is completely overrated as an NBA player. Why is he on Team USA? Why did he get a massive contract? He's only getting this kind of attention because he's on the Lakers. You're probably thinking all of those things. And it makes sense because just 2 years ago, he went completely undrafted. And now, after just a few seasons, he's somehow this amazing player. How can a guy that was ranked outside of the top 70 on draft boards just 2 years ago actually get this good this quickly? Or is he actually just extremely overrated? So let's start with the good. The main value here for Austin Reaves is as a shot creator and a playmaker. He does a lot of other stuff well, but that is his best skill set. And as the Lakers season went along, they started to prioritize him more and more to the point where in the postseason, he at times was the #1 option in terms of ball screen and playmaking creation. And what really puts him over the top in that category compared to some other players in that role is he is extremely efficient. He will get to his spots. He will get to the rim. He can shoot pull-up threes. He can draw fouls. He's a willing passer. His turnover numbers are relatively low. And it might seem like that's an easy role to find. It might seem like you can look around the league and find a ton of guys that are, bench pick and roll players that can create for other guys and score, but it's different when you can do it in limited opportunities, when you can also play other roles the way that Reaves can, and you're extremely efficient in every aspect, at the rim, in between game, three-pointers, turnovers, and drawing fouls. And he was so good in this role and so efficient that once we got to the postseason, LeBron obviously wasn't fully healthy. They actually pushed LeBron off of the ball so that Austin Reaves could be the main creator on the ball for the Lakers, which is unprecedented, not only throughout LeBron's career, but especially for a guy that was undrafted a few seasons ago. And that fact, as well as his postseason performance, really solidified this as a real thing for me. I don't think Austin Reaves is overrated. I actually think in some ways he's undervalued for a variety of different reasons. And obviously, if LeBron was fully healthy, he would have been on the ball more in the postseason. But the fact that Reaves was the guy that they trusted the most to create and to run things for them, even with the starters out there, really speaks to how much they believe that this is a real thing and how much it actually really is a real thing. But another way he differentiates himself in that role is he isn't just the on-ball creator guy. There are plenty of players around the league you can find that with bench units can score perfectly fine and pass perfectly fine in ball screens if you prioritize them. But then Reaves can move off the ball as well. He's a fantastic connector. Shot almost 40% from three last year as an off-ball spacer. He moves the ball. He can attack closeouts. He can play make off of those things. And he's just a threat when he's on the floor. And it's way harder to find than you might think, to find a creator, playmaker, spacer that's willing to move off the ball, willing to work within what everyone else needs. It's way harder to find that than you might think. And that's why Austin Reaves is so valuable overall and so valuable to the Lakers specifically. And the funny thing is, you don't even have to look outside of this Lakers team to see the exact opposite of what Austin Reaves was last year. Russell Westbrook had to go to the bench at the beginning of the season because he couldn't space alongside LeBron. He couldn't play make alongside LeBron. And it's just funny to go back and look at the early version of those Lakers at the beginning of last season, trying to figure out a way to get Russell Westbrook to fit in this roster when the whole time they had the backcourt complement guy in Austin Reaves. But for obvious reasons, pedigree, Russell Westbrook being who he is, Austin Reaves being who he is, they didn't want to prioritize him. But once they did, once they realized that they had that backcourt complement guy, everything really took off for them. And Russ obviously still has value around the league, but that just goes to show you how good of a fit Reaves is within this Lakers team, as well as plenty of other teams around the league had they wanted to spend more on him. But there are some downsides to his game as well that have to be mentioned. Defensively, he's not terrible, but just there's an athleticism and a size deficiency here for him that's just always going to be an issue. He's not a terrible defender by any means, and there are certainly players with similar dimensions and athleticism that are way worse than he is, and he does give effort and he does try. But throughout his career, as things move forward, especially in the postseason, there are going to be times where teams hunt for him. They try and get him in a mismatch, and it's not really anything that he can help. And he does try and navigate through screens. He does try and stay in front of guys, and he does try to be in the right places. But when you're talking about someone that's potentially going to be starting for you, playing 35 minutes a game in postseason games, having limited size is not ideal for a lead guard. And speaking of him being a lead guard, I talked about how efficient he is and all these great things in the first section, but if Austin Reaves is your main playmaker guy, even as good as he is, does that put a bit of a cap on your ceiling overall offensively as well as a team in the postseason? We talked about how he can kind of float in and out of that role, but at a certain point, if you don't have a LeBron level, a Luka level guy that is creating everything for you, especially late in games, and that guy instead is Austin Reaves, and again, even though he does all this other stuff well, working within the team concept, shooting off the ball, his best skill is as a creator, and if he's the guy for you down the stretch, does that put a bit of a ceiling on your team? But the most important part of all this is, how does all of this fit for the Lakers? Why is Austin Reaves so valuable to them? Why did he earn as much money as he did? And why, in my opinion, he actually should have earned even more money than he did on his most recent contract? Well, it's harder than you might think to find guys like this that can play alongside LeBron specifically. When you go and look throughout the years at the guys that have played alongside LeBron in the backcourt, we obviously have players like Kyrie, like D-Wade, these guys that are incredible offensive players. It's always going to work well alongside LeBron, even if in D-Wade's case, he's not a great floor spacer, or in Kyrie's case, he's not an outstanding or super willing passer. Those guys are just so talented that it's always going to work. But Reaves' ability and willingness to be a passer as well as a creator for himself and be an off-ball spacer, checking all three of those boxes, is the ideal thing you can be alongside LeBron offensively as a backcourt player. Defensively, there's still things to work on there, and there are more ideal, pairings and skill sets than Reaves to play alongside LeBron. But offensively, being able to switch between all three of those things when LeBron is on or off the floor, or even as we saw in the postseason when LeBron isn't playing at 100%, that is such a valuable thing. He can do this with the starters. He can do this with the bench guys. He doesn't hog the ball. He's going to be efficient with free throws and three-point shooting. He can fit in any role. And for a team like the Lakers that have obviously their two primary guys, but then everybody else is going to be kind of floating in between all of these different things that they need from game to game and matchup to matchup, having someone that versatile, especially offensively, is unbelievably valuable, as evidenced by the contract that he earned. Even though, in my opinion, I think that a team like San Antonio or one of these other teams around the league should have offered Austin Reaves even more than he got in free agency. And so now the question moving forward is, can he continue to build on this and grow? Because obviously he's an older prospect. He's already 25 years old, despite only being in the league for 2 seasons. He had a long college career. And so is this Austin Reaves prime? Like, is this as good as he's going to get for them? Or is there another level? Can he become even more efficient as a pull-up jump shooter? Can he be even better at getting to and finishing at the rim? Can he be an even better off-ball spacer, where maybe he's one of the best shooters in the entire league, continuing to compete defensively, getting better as a playmaker and a creator despite how efficient he is already? All of those things put together can make him that much more of a weapon for the Lakers. But if you're one of those people in the beginning of the video that were thinking, well, Austin Reaves is pretty overrated, he's only getting this attention because he's on the Lakers, none of this is real, why is he on Team USA? It's 100% real. Austin Reaves is the 3rd best player on the Lakers, and it's not particularly close. It's not D'Angelo Russell, it's not Gabe Vincent, it's not any of these other guys, it's not Rui. Austin Reaves is the 3rd best player that they have because of his ability to play all of these different roles and do all of them extremely well. There's a reason why he earned the contract. There's a reason why he's earned the notoriety that he has over the past 2 seasons, and it's because he is an incredible player and someone that fits perfectly within what the Lakers need now, as well as what they could possibly need in the future.